It's Morning Talk on News Talk 1250 KBRF, brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
It is truly a Monday, Mary. Good Monday morning.
You know, well, and I was going to say if people could only see you, but perhaps they can.
No, I didn't have the camera on while I was trying to get everything in. I got done with my meeting at 90 seconds ago, and I had 90 seconds to set everything up.
I know. I think they ought to let you out of that meeting a little bit.
I did leave it early.
Did
I'm
you?
going, yeah, I got to go.
Well, if you could see, I mean, there's a lot. He's doing a lot of this and reaching around, and he's got all these screens and all these buttons, and yeah, I'm glad it's you and not me. I'm really in charge of one main button and a couple of volume controls, and other than that, pretty hands-free for me, except for my coffee, of course.
Keep talking because I got to adjust your camera.
Okay, well, you come in and adjust the camera, and we've got lots to talk about today. The Trump administration transferring those hundreds of immigrants to El Salvador, and he used something that hasn't been used for years and years and years, the Allen Enemies Act of 1798. So that's what he invoked, President Trump that is, to get those people from El Salvador, those gang members, out of the country. I take that back. They're from Venezuela, and they got dumped in El Salvador because their own country probably won't take them. Anyway, so he invoked this Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which, of course, now there's already a judge saying you can't do that. And he went so far as to say, turn the plane around and get back here.
And Trump said, no.
You can't do that. And Trump said, mm-mm. They were already off the ground. They were out of the United States.
International space.
They're not coming back. So anyway, just another promise kept. If you're keeping track of the promises that President Trump gave us as he was running for office, there was another one. He was going to get rid of. There's some terrible people in those gangs, and they've done some awful things in this country. They've murdered people. They've raped women. A little bit of everything. Lots of drugs. These are not guys you want in our country.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not shocked that Venezuela went, we don't want them.
I know.
We're happy to get rid of them.
Exactly. Well, why do you think they got dumped here in the first place?
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know what El Salvador is going to do with them, but they are going to a very high maximum security prison.
I said this during the first Trump administration. I think everybody's confused with Trump because he keeps his campaign promises.
I guess.
And it's weirding people out.
That is so unpolitical. Yeah, exactly. And I saw there were some polls out over the weekend. I saw them for the first time on Meet the Press yesterday morning. I'm always a little interested to watch the first part of Meet the Press because that host is just, she's awful. Even if you answer,
she's very bad.
Even if you answer the question, she'll say, "Well, that's not true," and she'll give her side. So your answer, kind of,
Yeah, it's highly partisan.
She doesn't challenge your answer. She just says you're wrong and this is the right answer, and then she goes on to the next thing. Doesn't give them a chance.
I would, if I was sitting next to her and she did that to me, I'm like, no.
Wait a second, stop that.
Hold on there.
Yeah, I know.
Why do you say I'm wrong?
But it's interesting that very few of her guests actually do that.
She gets an echo chamber.
Yeah, I don't know. She's, what is her name? Kristen something.
Yeah, it's not Jill Brand, is it? No.
No, I can't remember what her name is.
I can picture her.
Yeah, I know. You can see her, but she's a terrible host.
Oh, yeah. She's awful.
Yeah, because she doesn't give people a chance to actually answer. But
you didn't say what I wanted you to say, so I'm going to say it instead.
Right. Right. That's exactly right. She just corrects it to her way of thinking and what, she wants to have the last word, basically. So, anyway, I don't know who would think that getting these Venezuelan gangs out of our country, I don't know who thinks that's a bad idea.
I don't know either. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, anyway, a senior Trump administration official confirmed to Fox News that a total of 261 illegal aliens were deported to El Salvador yesterday. 137 were via the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. 101 were Venezuelans removed via Title VIII. 21 were Salvadoran MS-13 gang members, and 2 were MS-13 ringleaders and special cases for El Salvador, according to the officials. So there you have it. That's the breakdown of those people that...
well, we got to make sure we keep them in this country.
Oh, my goodness. Who wants to keep those people? Why is anyone fighting for that?
Because
I don't
Donald
understand
Trump
it.
came up with the idea, and we can't have that.
Okay, so the rap sheets for these people that were removed included kidnapping, sexual abuse of a child, aggravated assault, prostitution, robbery, and aggravated assault of a police officer.
Well,
All of those things. Oh, those are the people
right
that, we really want here. A Trump administration official also confirmed to Fox News that the planes carrying the migrants were already outside of U.S. airspace when a federal judge ordered the planes to return.
I thought, yeah, because if I remember right, they were like halfway there.
Yeah, I think they were.
He's like, no, you have to turn them around. It's like, no.
Yeah, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg ordered an immediate stop to Trump's efforts to deport the alleged gang members so he could have more time to consider if Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act was illegal. They have not used this act since World War II. So just so you know, this one doesn't get used very often, and there was a serious call to do that, and it's at his fingertips. He can do it, and he did it.
Yep. Again, confusing everyone because he kept a campaign promise.
Exactly. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt echoed the official's sentiment, telling Fox News that the order had no lawful basis, was issued after terrorist aliens had already been removed from U.S. territory. The written order and the administration's action do not conflict, she said. A single judge in a single city cannot direct the movements of an aircraft carrier full of foreign alien terrorists who were physically expelled from U.S. soil. I love her.
Yeah, not an aircraft carrier, but an aircraft.
Well, that's what it says. An aircraft carrier full of foreign alien terrorists who were physically expelled from U.S. soil. So, wow.
Yeah.
They're out. And aren't you happy? And again, who wants to keep them here? Oh, boy. Severe storms over the weekend. Terrible, terrible storms. Now, we were lined up to have some winter storm that kind of didn't really. I mean, it blew.
We were supposed to get that 4 to 8 inches. I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and when I heard it raining and that freezing rain, I'm like, we're not getting 8 inches because it was supposed to change over on midnight, 1 o'clock, and turn to snow. So all the stuff that was supposed to be, inches of snow came down as rain.
Right. And it was a mess. I tell you what. And if you have, I have windows on the north and west in the bedroom. And so with the northwest winds, both of those windows were getting pelted with that kind of freezing rain.
I've kind of got some woods or some shelter to our windows so we didn't get hit as bad.
Oh, my goodness. I thought those windows, and the wind.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the windows were kind of just creaking, and I thought, oh, my goodness, I hope they don't, I was thinking, because I washed a couple windows not so long ago, and I kept thinking, they're the kind that fold in, and I was thinking, oh, my goodness, did I get them snapped shut at the top, or are those going to just open and come blowing into the house? That's what it sounded like.
You do have to be careful with those windows that fold in when you're going to clean them because you can easily break them.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
I've never had that.
I know somebody who actually broke the pane of the window.
Oh, and how?
I ask myself that every day.
Okay, but I did learn something, and this is from a window guy. He came to fix, I think, some screens or something. Anyway, so as he was folding in the window, so you can clean the outside from the inside of the house.
Yep.
He gave me a tip. He said, it's better not to hold it while you're wiping it because it goes like this and you're going to get it off kilter and it's not going to.
Maybe that's what
And
happened.
sometimes that happens. He said, you're better off to pull it down, and he showed me how far, and, lay it down and let it rest on your windowsill. You're much better off doing that. So maybe that's how it happened. Or it could have rested on something, or fallen down on something. I mean, you have to be careful. But it sure is nice to wash the outside from the inside of the house, that's for sure. But anyway, I kept thinking, those windows are going to blow right into the bedroom, I think, because it was crazy. But anyway, at least we didn't have this terrible weather that ran across the Midwest and now moving up the East Coast. Dust storms, tornadoes, wildfires all wreaked havoc across the southern United States, resulting in 35 fatalities and leaving communities devastated. The impact was felt in Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia.
Yeah, it was a
pretty wide swath, yeah. And now it is moving up the east coast of the United States. So they're expecting things like heavy rain and high winds. And I don't think the kind of severe weather that we saw in those states just mentioned, but boy, it leveled some cities for sure.
Yeah.
This is not exactly tornado weather or tornado season, is it?
No, it's
yet.
No, but I have talked to several meteorologists who said that the tornado season is shifting, and not only is that shifting, Tornado Alley is shifting north.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, that's not good.
No.
Anyway, Secretary of State Marco Rubio supports U.S. airstrikes in Yemen, which we saw over the weekend, targeting Iran-backed Houthi rebels to prevent attacks on global shipping and the U.S. military, which has been happening pretty routinely. And what's happening is it's slowing down commerce, it's slowing down shipping, and President Trump said, that's enough of that. We're gonna do something about this, and you're gonna stop messing with our cargo ships. So President Trump authorized strikes until the Houthis stop shipping attacks. Rubio emphasized the mission's importance and the lasting impact it would have on the United States. And, oh my goodness, yeah. Oh, hey, we forgot to say today is St. Patrick's Day.
Today is St. Patrick's.
We're both wearing green.
Yes, we are.
Mine's a little less vivid than yours. You are green.
I, of course, am wearing my...
Oh, Guinness, no less.
My Guinness hockey jersey. It's
wow.
My traditional St. Patrick's Day attire.
Okay. Well, I can't believe I even thought of it. I think I heard something on TV this morning about it being St. Patrick's Day, and I thought, other years we've gotten away with it. We can say we're wearing green even if we weren't, but
now we actually have to prove
it. Okay, so green shirt. I've got green cover on my phone, if that counts. So, sort of green. I'm playing along today.
Yeah.
This is the day when I become McMary O'Dolan for one day.
McMary O'Dolan.
Yeah, one day I get to be that.
I can be Dable Bishop.
You could. Do you do anything for, celebrate it all?
When I was younger, we celebrated in style, but I'm an adult, and so no.
Okay. I'm having grandkids for dinner tonight. I wonder if I should make the potatoes green.
I know my parents...
Sometimes it's so icky looking, I couldn't even eat it.
I know my parents are doing their traditional corned beef and hash today.
Okay.
Or not corned beef and hash, corned beef and cabbage today.
Okay. I can smell their house.
Oh, so good.
I love cabbage.
My mom
does
a very good job with it.
Your mom is just really a good cook, good baker.
It's a good meal over there. However, I'm not exactly sure what we're having over at our house. We've got a choir concert tonight, so.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of we're going to be singing. Hopefully, they'll sing at least one Irish song, but I doubt it.
Okay. And one more quick story before the bottom of the hour. A California delivery driver was awarded, get this, $50 million in damages after a Starbucks tea spilled on him at a drive-thru.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Causing permanent disfigurement. And the jury found Starbucks negligent, but the company plans to appeal, citing commitment to safety standards. So
some of these awards are just too much.
Well, they said spilled on him at a drive-thru. Like, Like they handed it to him and spilled on him. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know if that's what happened.
That's not a $50 million oops.
Well, I sure wouldn't think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Some of these awards that just give me a headache.
I know. They sure do. Well, we're going to be talking about some other things. How about some student loan changes that are leaving borrowers kind of confused and scratching their heads? And it says here that Americans have begun to work shorter days. Well, some Americans.
those Americans don't work in radio.
All right. Well, anyway, that and more when we come back on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
March is the biggest sales month here at Plan Z. Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. Why not January? Well, in January, the people who start a diet usually start the cheap or the easy ones, or maybe they join a gym. And then they find out none of that worked. You too? Have you decided it's time to get serious about a diet before summer gets here? Well, this is your lucky day. In March, we put Plan Z on sale with the lowest pricing of the year. You can get in for $19 a month and just buy your dieting supplies as you need them. You'll get a manual, the ZR50 Crave Control Spray, and you'll be on your way. How's that for affordable? You'll eat real food, nothing from a box. The recipes are easy, or you can just toss something on the grill. No drama. You also get dessert twice a day. You don't have to suffer your way through a diet. Our dieters lose an average of 31 pounds in 50 days, and that's faster than the shots out there for losing, and cheaper. Check us out at PlanZDiet.com.
If shore lunches and backstraps are a main part of your diet, then we've got a radio show for you. Sporting Journal Radio. It's the Midwest's radio home for the outdoors. I'm Brett Amundson, and I'll get you caught up on the latest hunting, fishing, and outdoor information each week with tips from guides, biologists, and wild game cooks. Tune in to Sporting Journal Radio.
Catch Sporting Journal Radio Saturday mornings at 8:06 on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the new Fergus Now app on your phone.
I'm Derek Sidian with KBRFradio.com News. Join me live every Friday on KBRFradio.com or the Fergus Now app for the weekly news recap, where I recap this week's hottest local news and you catch up on what you might have missed. The live stream starts at 12:30 and will be available to watch after the stream ends. The KBRFradio.com weekly news recap is brought to you by Fergus Falls Monument, online at foreverstonememorial.com, memorials that matter.
KBRF presents Where to Eat, the culinary adventure, sponsored by Dandelion and Burdock and Service Food in Fergus Falls.
Hi, I'm Zach Daniels.
And I'm Dave Bishop, your guide to the region's culinary treasures.
Join us as we explore various restaurants, uncover delicious meals, and highlight each restaurant's signature dish.
Experience diverse cuisine types, unique atmospheres, and must-try dishes. Check it out on KBRFradio.com and the Fergus Now app.
New episodes air every first Friday month. Where to Eat, powered by Dandelion and Burdock and Service Food of Fergus Falls.
Protect your livelihood with a livestock risk protection policy through Egg Country Farm Credit Services. With an LRP policy, you're covered if the market price unexpectedly drops for fed cattle, feeder cattle, or swine. Coverage options range from 70 to 100%. Get an LRP policy from a team that knows agriculture. Contact your local Egg Country office to learn more. Egg Country. Focused on ag, focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender and provider.
Markets this hour brought to you by Ag Country Farm Credit Services, a customer-owned cooperative.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Dickerman with Market Update on the Red River Farm Network. Well, we got grain markets mixed here at the start of this week. Corn is up, soybeans weaker. Progressive Ag's Brian Stroman said the wheat is leading the charge today.
Yeah, you look at the wheat complex again, hot and dry conditions forecast here in the next couple of weeks in the southern plains, and there's going to be a few days that are pretty windy, so just sucking that moisture, what little there is, out of the ground, and again, that's really supporting that wheat complex today. A softer tone in the soybeans, good weather in South America, and pretty big production numbers again coming out of Brazil. So I think that's adding some weakness as far as the soybeans.
Stroman said we're seeing some decent gains in the livestock markets today.
Bill's seeing some pretty solid numbers across the board. Looks like that cash market was up anywhere from $5 to $9 on Friday, and that really supported the live cattle to start the day. The funds added to their long position, and they also did that for feeder cattle as well, to a record position. So the funds continue to surface in that market and continue to buy it. You look at new all-time highs as far as the feeder cattle go. Certainly the firm tone in the live cattle helping the feeders. Lean hogs having a good day. We had a decent week, a week and a half ago, and some follow-through buying today. The funds have liquidated some of their long positions as far as the lean hogs go. But again, the cash market has been firm and not a bad day as far as the lean hogs go as well.
Reporting agriculture's business, this is the Red River Farm Network.
This is Don Wick, back with you with information from the North Dakota Gelbvieh Association. American Gelbvieh Association Executive Director Harold Hertz is back with us. Harold, we talked about it before, but this Gelbvieh breed seems to perform under all conditions.
Yeah, that's been one of the really fun things working for Gelbvieh is traveling to the extreme north and watching these cattle excel in that environment, but also in the southern climates, they do well as well. So I guess I say all that to say they're extremely adaptable, but I think that the cattle are able to do all those things that we've talked about, the extra performance while maintaining the maternal traits, and not all breeds of cattle do that well, but this one certainly excels in doing that.
Find the genetics that'll work in your herd. Visit ndgelbviehassociation.com. That's ndgelbviehassociation.com.
I'm Mark Oppold with an American Agriculture History Minute, brought to you by AgroLiquid. Get your crop off to a strong start and keep delivering potassium and sulfur with Calibrate. Visit agroliquid.com to learn more. Many people assume the longest river in the U.S. is the Mississippi, but that title belongs to the Missouri and part of American agriculture history. Rising from the Rocky Mountains in southwestern Montana, the Missouri flows east and south for 2,341 miles before entering the Mississippi north of St. Louis. The river drains a sparsely populated area of more than 500,000 square miles, which includes parts of 10 U.S. states. And although a tributary of the Mississippi, the Missouri is slightly longer and carries a comparable volume of water. I'm Mark Oppold.
Market update right now. We're looking at Minneapolis wheat. May, we're up 13.5 at 6.15 and a quarter. July's up 14 at 6.30 and a half. Got Chicago wheat May up 16 3/4. Kansas City May is up 19 3/4, 6.05 3/4. May corn is up 4.62 and a half. December up 2 3/4 at 4.53 3/4. May soybeans down 2 3/4 at 10.13 1/4. November is down a half at 10.17 1/2. April live cattle up 15 at 203.32. April feeders up $1.02 at 282.22. The April lean hogs up $1.40 at 88.02. This is the Red River Farm Network.
The process of selecting a memorial to commemorate a loved one can be challenging. After all, it's not something you do often, and you may not have done it before. I'm Ryan Welly with the Fergus Falls Monument Company. We've been crafting memorials that matter for over 140 years right here locally. We've helped a lot of friends and neighbors over the years. Our extensive inventory accommodates diverse choices while keeping costs manageable, and that matters. Call or visit us online at fergusfallsmonument.com. Memorials that matter.
Monday on Hot Talk with the Ox at 2:36, it's all about Chuck Schumer and the Democrats and the big Senate continuing resolution vote last week. Then hear what's on the docket at the state legislature this week. Hear the news from the weekend and what's unfolding at the moment. But right away at 2:06, test your recall of last week's shows on Heard It on Hot Talk. See you for Hot Talk with the Ox today from 2 to 5 on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
What's the Ox say? Are you ready for marketing that works as hard as you do? At Leighton Engage, we're local. Real strategists, real people, right here in your community. We don't just market, we go all in. From strategy to execution, we hustle and deliver results that make an impact for your business. Tailored solutions, real results, marketing that works.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
I'm Derek Sidian with KBRFradio.com News. Join me live every Friday on KBRFradio.com or the Fergus Now app for the weekly news recap, where I recap this week's hottest local news and you catch up on what you might have missed. The live stream starts at 12:30 and will be available to watch after the stream ends. The KBRFradio.com weekly news recap is brought to you by Fergus Falls Monument, online at foreverstonememorial.com, memorials that matter.
News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone as we have a 937. Currently sitting in at 36 degrees. A little bit of snow possible as we get into tomorrow night, obviously, with basketball tournament starting up. We got to have
Why
some
not?
more snow.
Yep, for sure.
But one of my favorite segments of the week, we got two Marys and a Dave.
All right, and we say good morning to Mary at the American Legion. Good morning and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to you too also.
All right. Well, I know you are already thinking about what's going to be cooking later in the week, open Wednesday through Saturday. And, of course, you're going to have a Wednesday special, as always.
We are. Our Wednesday special this week is lasagna.
Okay.
So not very St. Patrick-y-like. It's not corned beef and cabbage, but we figure you'll be full of that, so it's time for something different. So
okay,
lasagna on Wednesday.
Lasagna is always the right answer. It sounds really good. So, and I'm sure you'll be serving a little something on the side with that.
Oh, yeah. It comes with a garden salad and garlic toast and then a treat of some kind.
Okay, that sounds great. And you've got some just really, really delicious dessert features for the month of March and everything kind of green.
Kind of green, yep. We have a pistachio pudding layered dessert and a mint chocolate chip ice cream dessert and a chocolate mint cheesecake, in addition to all of our regular offerings. But those are our features for March, and they're all kind of green related.
Okay, well, that's a good reason to celebrate. And it doesn't have to be on St. Patrick's Day. You can have any of those green desserts or anything else out there anytime you guys are open every Wednesday through Saturday. So, Mary, let's talk about the hours.
We're open, like Mary said, from Wednesday through Saturday, and our carryout starts at 11 o'clock Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and goes until 8. And on Saturday, it begins at 3 o'clock and goes until 8. And dine-in is every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 3 until 8.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, always something good cooking out there. And, of course, we're now in the Lenten season, and so that means you've got some fish opportunities. You know, for someone who wants to eat fish on Friday, you've got a lot of that, too.
We do. We've added a couple of things for Lent. We always have a walleye dinner and a walleye sandwich, but we've added walleye fingers and a cod product that we're calling fish and chips. So it's a cod and fries and walleye fingers with choice of potato, and also the shrimp basket that we always carry, walleye dinner and a walleye sandwich.
Okay.
So lots of seafood things for you.
All right. Well, lots of options for Fridays, that's for sure. Mary, if we would like to get that Wednesday special ordered in advance to make sure we're on the list, or have any questions or want to order anything else, sides or whatever, what's the number to call?
Give us a call at 739-4633. I'd also like to add that our American Legion Post 30 scholarship applications for area seniors are at the schools.
Great.
Have been for a little while, so feel free to stop and pick one of those up, or if you want to give me a call or stop in here, I'll email one to you or hand one to you, so feel free to do whatever works for you. But any senior graduating from the Fergus Falls area, Hillcrest, and the I can't remember the other school. Anyway, in the Fergus Falls area.
If you're in the Fergus Falls area, right.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, feel free to give a call or pick up an application. They're due the middle of April, so you got a little time.
Okay, so moms, dads, grandmas, and grandpas, if you're listening this morning, you can stop and pick one up and then encourage your child to fill that out, too.
Absolutely.
Because, sounds great. Well, Mary, thank you for being with us. We wish you a happy St. Patty's Day, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mary from the American Legion, our guest and sponsor. on the show today. Always makes me hungry when we talk about what's going to be served this week.
Lasagna is one of my favorites.
Well, they make great lasagna, too. It's about 9 miles high. It's a good one, for sure. Yeah, and it's always nice. I think, I know a lot of people who just are on the list every Wednesday because, and they think, oh,
good way to
love
do it.
Wednesday. Never have to think of what to cook, and whether you want to go out and eat or you want to just pull in and pick it up, either way works pretty well. All right. Oh, I know what I was going to say, talk about this on the front half of the show and forgot. So before we get to those other things, the student loan changes and those stories that I teased at the end of the first half, wanted to tell you, I saw this in the news last night. Senator Mark Kelly, senator from Arizona, he's so mad at Elon Musk because, of course, he's a Democrat. And he's so mad at Elon Musk. He's one of those guys who says, that's it. I'm not going to drive my Tesla anymore.
Oh, wow.
And guess what he changed to? Full-size gas SUV. So
I'd say good for him. That's kind of what I'd drive, too.
Well, so evidently the whole electric car thing on the Democratic side didn't mean much to him.
You want to know the irony of Mark Kelly being mad at Elon Musk?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Do you know what Mark Kelly is known for?
Well, he's an astronaut.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's an astronaut.
Yeah.
Works for the space program. Who basically runs our space program?
Exactly.
SpaceX.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because Boeing has failed. New Glenn and Blue Origin, that's pretty much failed.
Right.
The only thing going is the SpaceX, the Falcons, the Falcon Heavies, and they're working on Spaceship or Starship. So it's like the only person doing anything getting astronauts up there.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting for sure. I saw a poll over the weekend too, and Kristen Welker, that's her name. That's name. On Meet the Press. Anyway, she was the one who had this. Steve Kornacki, who is kind of like a numbers guy, and he can go back and take a look at where the Democrats and the Republicans sat as far as approval and disapproval of a specific president, and how that compares to now, how President Trump, those numbers compared from his first round in the White House till now, all those sorts of things. Anyway, I thought, oh, this is going to really look bad, but it ended up really looking terrible for the Democrats. And I saw it on the Today Show again this morning. Same guy, same details. This is the worst the Democratic Party has looked, according to a poll, for a very long time. In fact, 55% of Democrats say that they are completely dissatisfied with the party.
Because they're on the wrong side of a lot of the major issues.
55%. That's a huge drop just since Election Day.
Yeah.
And if you Google this, because you'll see the graph, and and then the Republicans kind of went just a little bit of a dip, and the Democrats just went major nosedive. 55% say they disapprove with the party and how things are being handled. So I think you're going to see a lot of Democrats who are maybe running for those midterm elections. I think you're going to see them
try to go center.
Kind of
try to pretend to be a
coming
centrist.
Toward center, or at least pretending.
Pretending.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom being one of them.
Oh,
we
yeah.
know he wants to run for president next round.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so what does he do? Invites Charlie Kirk on his first podcast, which I don't know. If I'm Charlie Kirk, I'm not sure that was a good thing for him to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it gave him the opportunity, gave Gavin Newsom the stage, and it gave people believe a lot of stuff like that, and people might be thinking, maybe Gavin Newsom is starting to come toward the center. Well, we all know that is complete baloney.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think he should have done that. And a lot of people came out against it when he did.
A lot of people came out against it, but you also have to look at it this way. Maybe he's like, we'll give him a chance, or at least this will have. Charlie Kirk is like, well, at least I'll be seen by more people than I normally would have. I'm not going to get my little echo chamber. I'm going to be seen by the Democrats, and maybe hopefully swing some of them to reality.
Yeah, very true. Anyway, I just found that interesting. Okay, many of the 43 million Americans with federal student loan debt are noticing alarming changes in their accounts. In the last few weeks, income-driven repayment plan applications have closed, and eligibility for public service loan forgiveness also appears to have changed. Some borrowers, like a guy named Jordan, have seen their monthly payments jump unexpectedly. He said, "It's been alarming. And I'll just move my money and guess I'll wait until they figure out how to garnish my wages." He is a teacher and a father of two. Income-driven repayment plans allowed borrowers to pay no more than a percentage of their income, and public service loan forgiveness programs forgive loans of government and nonprofit workers after 10 years of service and payments. Did you know that?
No.
Let me say that again. Public service loan forgiveness programs forgive loans of government and nonprofit workers after 10 years of service and payments.
You work for the government for 10 years, you don't have to pay your college bills.
I guess I've never heard that before.
Wow. Wonder who passed that. I'm guessing the government.
Wow. Okay. So now what happens? Let's say you're a government worker and you are now, you've worked for the government for 8 years, and now all of a sudden you lose your job in this last round of cuts. So then now you are on the hook for the rest of your loan payments, which you should be. Anyway.
Again, you took out the loan.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, anyway. All right. According to stats from ActiveTrack, an American workday is shorter now than it was in 2022. Well, that's because nobody goes back to work.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Plus, you had probably had a lot of people working from home. They were like, "Oh no, of course I put in overtime."
Right. Well, the average workday, they say, now ends at 4:39 p.m. Earlier than 2022's quitting time of 5:21. In total, the average American works 8 hours and 41 minutes a day. Despite the shorter work time, productivity is actually up 2%. They say that these are, relatively healthy numbers. These figures are based on 200,000 workers at 800 companies. So it's a pretty big sample.
Yeah.
However, the country is still behind most of the developed world in terms of work-life balance. Finnish workers work for about 7 hours, 44 minutes a day. You always hear about European countries giving their people a lot, they get like 2 hours lunch.
In France, you get the summer off.
Oh boy, how do you do that? How do you keep doing what you're doing and take 3 months off? I don't get that.
I don't get it either. All I know is they always say if you're going to go on vacation and if you want to go to Paris, don't go during the summer because there's huge.
Because everybody's
closed.
Oh, I get it. Everybody's closed, and you'd think,
but
that
it's
would
the
be
French.
a good. Yeah. How about that? Okay, so we just talked about all these tornadoes. Do you know, and I think in this part of the country, and I would assume in the parts that got hit, they should know the answer to this. But the question is, do you know what a tornado warning is? Yeah. And the question is a warning versus a watch. Now, I think there's a lot of people that don't really know that.
This is the best description ever, and I've heard this from both Weathereye or Weatherology and the National Weather Service. And what they do is they put out tacos. They've got a disassembled taco. So you've got the shell, you got the meat, you've got the lettuce, you got the onions and tomatoes, and they're all separated. That's a taco watch. A taco warning is it put together. So a tornado watch means the ingredients are there for a tornado. The tornado warning means there's a tornado.
Yeah.
So taco watch.
Right. So if you don't know that, and they're saying that a lot of people don't know that, research shows that the public may not know the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. I like your taco deal. I think
it is the best description I've ever seen.
It is. So research from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln say confusion regarding these terms could result in delayed reactions, and it could be deadly.
People just got to be smarter.
Right. A tornado warning means that a tornado has actually been detected or visually confirmed, and that action should be taken immediately. A tornado watch means that conditions are favorable, or all of the ingredients for the taco are there. Just don't know if you're going to put the taco together. Anyway, the average lead time for tornado warnings is 13 minutes. So that's not very long, but 13 minutes would at least give you time to
shelter.
Get into a shelter someplace.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this. You know, they tell you if you are driving and you see a tornado, you're to get out of your car and lay in the ditch. Would you really have the guts to do that?
That'd be tough, but
Gosh, I'd want to stay with the car, but I guess that's more dangerous.
That's more dangerous. The other thing that I always thought was you get underneath an overpass, a bridge. Apparently, that's like the worst place to be, because what'll happen is it'll channel all that wind and just shoot you out.
Oh, okay.
When I heard that last
What
year,
if you were to get like on one side or the other?
No, they're like you
Just
can't hold on.
dangerous. Okay.
They're like, get in the lowest part of the ditch you can and like hold on to the ground, because that's what you're going to need to do.
Do you know, I actually know somebody who did this, and they were and it was the middle of the day. They were in their work truck, and they saw an oncoming tornado and knew that was what you were supposed to do, is lay in a ditch. And there was a fairly deep ditch where he happened to be driving. So he did that. He pulled over, got out of his truck, went to the ditch, laid down, and he said he could actually feel like the skin being like pulled from his face, kind of, like the wind was like sucking his skin up. And he said it was very frightening, but he could have only imagined, had he been standing up out of the ditch, what would have happened to him. But he said it was a freaky feeling. Now, again, and then I wonder, well, what happens to your car? Your car's up on the road and you're down here in the ditch. What happens if it blows the car in the ditch? I don't know. That just seems scary to me.
It seems scary, but that's what they tell you to do, and that's the reason why they tell you to do it is apparently it works.
I guess. Anyway, well, we're going to see, that's really scary stuff. Those straight line winds and tornadoes are about as scary as it gets. When we're at the lake in the summertime, I love a good thunder and lightning storm, but straight line winds and tornadoes, straight line winds are the scariest, I think.
Yeah.
They do the most damage. But all of a sudden you see those little, what are they called? Is it spouts?
Water spouts.
Water spouts. I had never seen that before a couple of summers ago. And John had gone to work and he heard the sirens, and he called me and he said, you need to get across the street. We have a friend who has a place for us to go. And we were going to get down at what we call the hidey hole. And we were going to get down in there. Well, running across the street, I ran into one of the family, and he said, oh my goodness, we need to get in now. Take a look at the lake. And there were all these like little tornadoes that were coming up off the lake.
Yeah, water spout is just a tornado over water.
I've never, and there were multiples of them. I had never seen that before. So that is, we've gone across the street and watched the storm before, but never had we actually had to get in the hole and take cover. So that kind of stuff is so scary to me in the summertime. So you can imagine and this was such a wide swath. It just went on and on forever. Are you, a completely different note, are you a Ted Lasso fan?
I wish I could watch Ted Lasso. I don't have Apple Plus or Apple TV.
I don't
but
either.
I've seen a lot of the clips. I like Ted.
I love Jason Sudeikis.
He's good.
He's so funny. I don't know if he's funny in this or if it's stupid.
From the stuff I've seen, it's good.
It's funny. It looks like it could border on stupid.
I think that's kind of what's going for
like
people.
Dumb and Dumber kind of.
No, not
that stupid.
No.
Okay.
For people who don't know what Ted Lasso is, Ted Lasso was a character. I want to say it was one of the years that the U.S. hosted the Olympics or the World Cup. ESPN created Ted Lasso for a series of promos, and what it is, it's an American football coach coaching soccer in England. And so they had him kind of doing all this stuff, and then everybody kind of thought it was funny. Oh, okay, it ran its course. And then all of a sudden, like 10 years later, they're like, let's make this into a TV show.
And they did.
And
it ran for 3 consecutive seasons, and it kind of concluded the show's storyline. So everybody thought, it's done. But the relentless pursuit by fans for more episodes has finally resulted in the show's renewal. Since its 2020 debut, Ted Lasso has gained a devoted following with its themes of happiness and kindness. It has earned 13 Emmys, including Best Comedy Series for Sudeikis and Goldstein. So, hey, if it's got themes of happiness and kindness,
yeah,
I could maybe watch a little stupid.
It's a good one. I've tried to find it where I could download it or buy it digitally, and Apple is like, no, this is kind of our golden goose. If you want to watch this, you have to subscribe. And
I'm not going to subscribe.
I'm not
going to
subscribe for anything
services.
for one season.
Me neither. All right. Here's one. Feel good. A woman returns. It's one of those returned library books.
All right.
She had it 99 years.
Yeah, 20
and now
seconds.
It's back. Okay. All right. That's going to do it. Our show brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Falls Monument Company. Have a great day.
Want to look and feel better fast? How about losing 31 pounds in 50 days?